welcome to online class with me Nusrat Alam, lecturer in English, Milestone College. How are you all? I hope you all are fine and very busy with your studies. My today's online class is on a very important topic, and that is fill in the blanks. You must have attempted different types of fill in the blanks in English first paper and second paper both. Well, in English, fill in the blanks is considered to be a very important item through which we can assess the student's ability or their capability in English. Practicing fill in the blanks more and more enriches our vocabulary, develops our ability of critical thinking, and brings about perfection in sentence construction. There are two types of fill in the blanks in English first paper: fill in the blanks with clue and fill in the blanks without clue. Our today's topic of discussion is fill in the blanks with clue. We find it in English first paper, question number 4. And the total mark of this item is 5. Let us see a sample question how fill in the blanks with clue looks like. A question of fill in the blanks with clue looks something like this. A box is given on the top and the box has 12 options where we have 10 gaps over here to complete. That means we might need 10 options from here to complete our whole passage. A fill in the blanks with clue provides us a passage with some gaps. And to fill up those gaps, the clues are also given in a box. We have to pick up the proper option from the box and use it to fill it up. The given text could be textual or non-textual passage. That means the passage could be taken from our EFT book or it could be taken from outside. No matter the passage is textual or non-textual, when we are going to fill them up, we should be very careful about two things. Number 1, meaning of the words. All the meaning of the words should be understood by us. And then, while we are picking up the options from the box, they might be needed to be changed. The part of speech could be changed from noun to adjective or to verb or to different parts of speech as well. Our students often ask how can they improve their skill in filling the blanks and how can they score good marks in it. In which sector they need to improve themselves. Well, if we want to fill up the gaps or complete these sentences with appropriate words, we have to work on certain fields. Overall, we have to have good knowledge on English grammar and we need to have a good command over our words or our vocabularies. Apart from that, what are the grammatical sectors that we should be very careful about? They are knowledge on different parts of speeches, different types of sentence structures, right use of verbs and vocabularies, and one more thing, we need to have the capability of thinking critically. Let us solve one exercise and find out what are the rules they are following. Before we start answering any fill in the blanks, we should read the passage again and again. We should try to understand all the meaning of the words, and the clues could be changed if they are needed into different part of speeches. This sample question has been taken from Test Examination 2019 of Bir Sreshto Nur Mohammad Public College, Dhaka. Fill in the blanks with clue question looks like this. It provides us some options and a text which has some gaps. Using the text or the options inside the box, we have to fill up the gaps that we have here. First of all, we should go through the text again and again to understand the context of the passage, and then we should pick up appropriate words from the box, and if needed, we might have to change the form of the given word over here. Might be the noun form should be used or the verb form, etc. So let's go through the passage slowly and carefully and try to fill them up. Let's read the options first. We have of, in, real, that, as, it, internet, grant, watch, introduce, the, only, prepositions, verbs, noun, etc. in our option. So let's use them and let's read the text first. Today we take for dash that we have one machine. Dash allows us to access dash. Today we take for what? We take something which is very common for us. Usually we get that we have one machine. That one machine dash allows us. One machine allows us to some access to something. Access to what? With the help of internet. That means this line gives us the idea of that the passage is about the access or use of internet, and the machine refers to computer. So let's fill it up. Today we take for. After for we have to use a verb, and as it is the second verb of the sentence, that's why it is actually a non-finite verb, and we are going to take the option grant because we have taken for granted. It is nowadays seems very easy or common for us, so the option granted is appropriate. My dear students, please notice here we had the option grant, but we have changed it into granted because it is a non-finite verb and it is in past participle form. Granted that we have one machine dash allows us to access dash. We have a machine and that does something. Who does something? That. So that allows here, that is used as a pronoun and it's working like a connector also. That allows us to access what? Access of internet. Access internet. With the help of internet, we can do word processing, use a calculator, dash TV, play games, and do lots of other things. So we can do word processing, use a calculator, dash TV. What TV? We can watch TV, and watch should be used in the same form as it is. We have it here because we can do. Here we had can. After can, we use V1 form of verb. So there is no change of the verb watch. Watch TV, play games, and do lots of other things. But the personal computer only became available to consumers 1974. Here, before the year, we are going to use a preposition, and that is in 1974. Things took off when Microsoft Windows was dash in 1985, and it's good that dash was, since without the prevalence dash personal computer, the internet wouldn't have had nearly as big impact as dash it has ever since. It's a big sentence, so we have to act carefully, my dear students. Let's check out. First of all, things dash took off. Things is the subject, and then we have a verb. Then what can come between this subject and verb? Only we can find a modifier for this gap. So what could be the modifier that we have here? And I think real is the appropriate one. Things really took off. How did it take off? Really took off. So real has been changed into really in an adverb form. When Microsoft Windows was dash in 1985, we all know Microsoft Windows was introduced or brought to access to common people in 1985. So our appropriate option is introduced in 1985. And it is good that dash was, since without the prevalence dash personal computer. And it is good that what was since without? Here it means the access of internet. Was since without the prevalence dash personal computer. Prevalence of what? Prevalence of. Here we needed one preposition and we have taken it from the first box of personal computer. The internet wouldn't have had nearly as big an impact dash it has ever since. That means here we have a connector, as you can see, as, and big impact has ever since. As big an impact. So similar kind of things are being added over here. That's why we are going to use as. as the connector over here. So you can see we have connectors, verbs or nouns over here, there, and we have changed some of the forms to complete our gap. My dear students, you must have noticed that all the words that we are using to fill up the gaps, they are following lots of different grammatical rules. So whenever we are attempting this item, we should be very careful. Now, my dear students, if you have understood the exercise we just have completed, now here is another one for you. While answering this item, we should be very careful about word meanings, and if we fail to understand the meaning of the given passage, we won't be able to fill them up properly. And then the given clues might be needed to be changed. Let us check whether you can complete them by yourself properly or not. And this question has been taken from the test examination of Milestone College 2019. So now it is your turn to solve this question by yourself. Though I'm here to help you, let's read the text or context first and then go through for the options that we have on the box. The options are brand, leave, support, oppress, move, advocacy, imprisoned, regime, apartheid, study, isolate, mark. Isolation, apartheid, that means the passage is about the famous Nelson Mandela. Let's read it first. Mandela, the South African leader, dash for armed resistance to dash his country, he traveled the continent and Europe, dash guerrilla warfare and building dash for the African National Congress. He dash a terrorist by his enemies and was sentenced to life dash in 1964. We all know what he was sentenced to life imprisonment. He dash from millions of his countrymen as they suffered dash. He was separated or isolated as he was imprisoned. So we can also get some idea about the option of number H. As they suffered dash violence and forced settlement. They suffered humiliation or suppression oppression, we all know. Let's take a closer look. Mandela, the South African leader, dashed for armed resistance. He advocated for armed resistance. Check out, we had this option advocacy as noun form, but we have used it as a verb form. Why? Because after subject we needed a verb. That's why here we have taken it in the verb form. Advocated for armed resistance to dash to apartheid. Resistance to apartheid. He wanted to resist the apartheid, so he wanted to build up an armed resistance force. Dash his countrymen, he traveled to the continent and Europe. He dash his continent. It looks something like a simple sentence, and here we are going to take a non-finite verb. And what kind of verb? What he did with his countrymen? He leave. So leaving his countrymen. Leaving his countrymen, he traveled the continent to bring support definitely for his nation. The continent and Europe dash guerrilla warfare and building dash. Studying guerrilla warfare and building support for the African National Congress. Next we have, he dashed a terrorist by his enemies and was sentenced to life dash in 1964. He was a terrorist. He was not a terrorist, but he was given the title, or he was branded a terrorist by his enemies, not by the common South Africans, but by his enemies, and was sentenced to life dash. Life what? In 1964, he was imprisoned. So, imprisoned is the option. He dashed from millions of his countrymen as they suffered dash violence and forced settlement. He dashed from millions of his countrymen. That means as he was imprisoned, he might have gone to isolation. So after the subject, we cannot use isolation. We have to take the word in a verb form. And as he didn't go to isolation by himself, he was dragged to do that, or he was forced to do that. So the verb should be used in passive form. He was isolated from millions of his countrymen as they suffered violence and forced settlement. These words are as they are in noun form, so this one should be also in noun form. Oppression. We have here oppress, verb, but we have to take it into a noun form. Violence and forced settlement under the apartheid apartheid what? When the apartheid prevailed. So apartheid regime. My dear students, did you try yourself to complete the gaps? Then what is your score? I believe you must have been able to solve them properly. So with the hope of your better result and better health, I'm going to end up my today's class on fill in the blanks. See you some other time with some other topic. Till then, bye-bye.